Now we are discussing about laws of motion. It is another chapter which describes the motion of body. The title of the lesson is Laws of Motion. This is also called dynamics. Dynamics means it is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of bodies, including the reason behind it. If you see the explanation of the dynamics, it is a branch of physics which deals with the motion of the bodies, including the reason behind the motion. So what is the reason behind the motion? Suppose if a body is at a stationary, nothing but it is not at all moving, it is fixed to its surroundings, then we can say that if any external force, maybe a push or pull, is applied on it, then only according to the direction of the force applied the body will move. Means if your body should move, a force should be applied. That means the reason behind the motion of the body is nothing but force. So this lesson relates the motion with force. The concept of the force discussed, derived and explained by a great scientist called Sir Isaac Newton, who is called as father of physics. He has explained the force, nothing but the gravitational force acting on the masses of the bodies, as well as the force which is the reason for the motion of the bodies. So in this lesson, he has explained the force in three different ways. Those are said to be three laws of motion. Each law explains a physical phenomena that are experienced by the bodies while it is moving or while they are at rest. So this is the basic introduction for this lesson. Now we are going to discuss what are those three laws of motion and their sub-concepts. Here the first law of motion. What is the first law of motion? Yes, we are discussing the previous example. With that, we will write a statement also. Yes, this is the body, initially at rest. At rest means no change in the position. If an external force is applied in any corner of the body, in any direction, then according to the magnitude of the force applied, the body will move. It will move like this. See, as the direction of the force is forward, the object will move forward, nothing but the pushing. As the direction of the force is backward, nothing but the pulling, the object will move in the pulling direction. So, motion of body or the direction of the body is same with the direction of applied force. This is the body where the force is applied. It was converted from rest position to movement or motion. Rest to motion. We will take another example. The body which is already in motion. Like a vehicle on the road. Suppose if we should stop a vehicle, what we should do? We should apply the brakes. This applying the brakes is nothing but applying a force to stop the body or to decrease its velocity or to decrease its momentum. So we are applying a force on the body which is already in the motion. Because of that applied force, the body is coming to rest. Here we are applying an external force on the body which is in the rest position. Then the body is converted to the motion movement. So what is the statement with regarding of these examples for this first law of motion? A body will be in rest or will be in motion until and unless an external force is applied on it. That means external force should be needed to move the body continuously. The statement of the first law of motion is like this. Every body or every object continues to be in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is acted upon by a net external force. A net external force is a main criteria to keep the body in the state of rest or the state of uniform motion. This is the statement of the first law of motion. But this first law had many sub-concepts. It explains about the concept of force as well as inertia. This is the first sub-concept which should be discussed with the help of first law of motion. And the second conclusion of this first law is, if the net force acting on the body is 0 in magnitude, therefore the uniform acceleration of the body is 0. That means if the net external force acting on the body is 0 in magnitude, means no force is applied, then the uniform acceleration of the body is 0. That means the force as well as acceleration are related. This relation will be explained in the second law of motion. So these are the two concepts. Now we should discuss about what is force, what is inertia. So what is force? We can see many examples to understand the force. If a vehicle is stopped on the road, we are applying a force in the pushing direction to move it. If a body is already in the motion, if we want to stop it, we should apply the brakes in the opposite direction to stop the vehicle. That means a force which can change the body's position from rest to motion or motion to rest. As well as if you see the cricketers, the athletes or any sports players, they are applying their force to change the direction of the ball or to change the direction and the motion of the ball or the speed of the ball. That means force is such a physical quantity which can try or which tries or which can possibly do the change in the motion of the bodies or from rest to motion. So it is a physical quantity that can change or trying to change the motion of a body or the position of a body from rest to motion or motion to rest. So we are keeping the arrow marks like vice versa, means rest to motion is possible as well as motion to rest is also possible. So like this we can explain or discuss the force. What is its unit of measurement? Its CZS unit is dyne. Its standard international unit, SI unit is Newton. 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power of 5 dynes. There are many other forces, means the forces are classified into many different ways. The basic is gravitational force. Second one is electrostatic force. Third one is weak nuclear force and strong nuclear force. Fourth one is strong nuclear force. Like this, or like this, we can list out the different types of forces which are in the nature. These four are not enough. Like this, there are many other forces. If you say the example, electromagnetic force is also one of the example. So it has continued to many other examples. So many forces are there. So which we are known and which we are unknown also. But in this lesson, we are simply discussing about the force or mechanical force. That means the force which is acting on the body. The next related concept in the first law of motion is inertia. Yeah. So what is the way to understand this inertia concept? If the net external force acting on the body is 0, then the body which is in rest position continues to be in the rest, or the body which is in motion, then the body continues to be in the motion. Means this inertia concept explained as the resistance or inability to change the state of the body. So if the net external force is 0, then the body which is in rest continue to be in rest, the body which is in motion continue to be in motion. So, what is the conclusion or the simplest point to understand this definition is inability to change the position. This inability to change the position is called inertia of the body. Mass is the measure of the inertia. Means higher the mass, more the inertia. If mass of the body increases, then it is required to apply more external force to move it. So mass is the measure of inertia. So the inertia's SI unit is kg. This inertia is again classified into three types. So this inertia is classified into three types. First one, inertia of rest. Second one, inertia of motion. Third one, inertia of direction or direction. These three are some of the examples for these three physical quantities. We can see the examples in our daily life also. So inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. So what is the inertia of rest? Suppose if you are in a bus, the bus is in the rest position. If the bus has started suddenly, then the passenger who is standing in the bus will fall down backwards. It's a slightly change in the position. That means if the bus starts to move in the forward direction or the pushing direction, there is for a slight momentary time, the passenger who is actually in this position, he will simply bend like this. And again he will comes to the original position before the starting of the bus, but it will take some momentary time for this deflection. That means the body which is in the rest, it is unable to be in the rest position when another body which is connected with it is in the motion. So it is very difficult to come to the rest or to be in the same rest position when it is in a moving body. This position is called inertia of rest. So what is the definition of the inertia of rest? It is a property of a body by virtue of its state and very difficult to come to the rest position or to be continued to be in the rest position. So the definition of inertia of rest is like this: the inherent property of a body by virtue of which it unable to change by itself its state of rest is known as inertia of rest. Means the bodies which cannot change their rest position by itself. That is called a property called a virtual property of a body, that is said to be inertia of rest. What are the examples? We have seen the bus example in the form of explanation. The second example is, suppose if a mat is simply beaten by a stick. Then that mat will be in motion, but the dust particles which are in the mat are simply, they will be in the rest position. With that rest position only, they will fall down. The dust particles will fall down. These are the examples, some few examples to understand this concept. There are many examples. These are all we are seeing in our daily life. So it is very difficult to change the position by itself. This term is very, very important. The next one is inertia of motion. Next one is inertia of motion. So what is inertia of motion? Suppose if the body is in the motion, if the net force applied on it or the force which is applied on it is not sufficient to bring the body to rest, then the body will be continued to be in motion. So it is an inherent property of a body by virtue of its state of motion, by virtue of its state of motion, which is unable to be in the rest position or keeping in motion itself. That means the bodies itself, they are unable to come to the rest position or they will keep in motion. So this process is called inertia of motion. What are the examples of this inertia of motion? Same, we will take the bus example. A person who is standing in the bus or sitting in the bus, if the bus which is in the motion suddenly applied the brakes, that means the body will come to the rest. But the passenger who is sitting or standing in the seat, then he will give a forward jerk because he is unable to be in the motion. That's why he is already in the rest position because of the force applied in the forward direction. So he will move towards the forward and simply after that a small interval of jerk, he will come back. This is one of the example. Jerk and bus. The one more example in the inertia of motion is if you see the long jump of an athlete. Before doing the long jump, that particular athlete will move backward some 5 to 6 steps. What is the reason? This will give a proper idea for the inertia of motion. Then he can be able to cover the longer distance. That's why, so before the long jump, the athlete will move back. Which gives a sufficient strength for the covering of inertia of motion. So this is the possibility of the inertia of motion. The third type of inertia is inertia of direction. So inertia of direction means, if you see the example, from that we can understand this. Suppose if a bus is taking simply a left turn from a junction, the passenger who is sitting in the chair or who is sitting in the seat in the bus, he will slightly move towards the right direction. If the bus is taking the right diversion or right turn, the passenger will simply move towards the left. That means actually he is the passenger who is sitting in the chair or who is sitting in the seat, he is unable to move or change the direction of him along with the bus or along with the vehicle what he is traveling. So what is the meaning of this inertia of direction? It is also an inherent property of a body. By virtue of its position of a body which is unable to change its direction by itself. This is the definition of inertia of direction. That means the bodies, some objects, for them it is very difficult to change its direction by itself. So this is called inertia of direction. So what are the examples? If bus takes left turn, the passenger will take right turn. Or passenger slightly moves towards right. Or if bus takes the right turn, the passenger slightly moves towards left. So for the passenger, it is very difficult to change its direction or change his direction along with the body which is already in the change of motion or change of state. This is called inertia of direction. So this inertia is playing a key role for every object in the daily life. The next concept is momentum or linear momentum. Now, what is the meaning of momentum? We are using this term generally. If a person is rigid, not at all moving or not at all active, so we should motivate him. In general words, we will say his momentum is very less. So like that, what about the momentum of the objects? This momentum symbol is P. So what is the definition of the momentum? Let us take a body of mass m. When an external force is applied on it, then this body which is in rest will start to move. When it is starting to move, whether it is a forward direction or backward direction according to the direction of applied force, then the body will attain some velocity, let us say v. So the product of the body's mass and its velocity is called momentum. The product of the mass of body and its velocity is called its momentum. Product of the mass of the body and its velocity is called momentum. So P, nothing but momentum, is equal to mass, nothing but small m, into velocity. So therefore P is equal to mv. If a body moves in the straight line, then its momentum is called linear momentum. Or if the body is moving in a circular path, then its momentum is called angular momentum. But what we can understand is, if momentum is constant, m is proportional to 1 by v, or v is proportional to 1 by m. That means if velocity of the body is less for the higher mass objects, or if the mass of the body is very high, then the attaining velocity will be less. Anyway, this mv will be constant. So this mass of the body and velocity of the body, nothing but the momentum, has one different type of explanation to understand. Let us take a small body which is moving with high velocity, or let us take a body bigger in size, which is moving in less velocity. This is small m, capital V. This is capital M, small v. Is there any change in the momentum between these two bodies? No. Why? What about the mass? What about the velocity? These two are related like this. Means the ratio between the mass and velocity should be constant in every type of motion or every type of mass and velocity. So anyway, the product, nothing but the momentum or linear momentum, will be constant. So when a higher mass moving with less velocity or a lower mass moving with high velocity has the same momentum. Like this, we can conclude the conservation of momentum in the bodies also. Now we will see the units of momentum and its dimensional formula also. So the SI unit of momentum, where P is equal to mv. The SI unit of mass is kg. The SI unit of velocity is meter second inverse or meter per second. This will be written like this also, kg meter per second, kg hyphen. So the SI unit of momentum is kg meter second inverse or kg meter per second. So what about the dimensional formula of the momentum? If you are keeping a physical quantity in this type of brackets, now we are writing the dimensional formula. That is the meaning. So the dimensional formula of the mass is, dimensional symbol of the mass is capital M. Then the dimensional formula of the velocity is Lt power minus 1. This is the dimensional formula of momentum of a body. This momentum and rate of its change in momentum is explained in the second law of motion. The next one is Newton's second law of motion. So it explains the rate of change in the momentum of a body is directly proportional to the net external force acting on it, and the direction of the body will be in the direction of the applied force. So before going to write the statement or the definition of this one, let me explain the process to do this. If the body is initially at rest, okay, mass will be fixed but the velocity is 0. Or if it is just initiated to move, u is 0 or more. Whenever an external force is applied, automatically u will change to v. That means there is a possibility for the change in velocity of the body from u to v or v to u within a short interval of time. So therefore, the rate of change in momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on it. Or we can write the next external force should be applied on the body or is applied on the body is directly proportional to the rate of change in its momentum. The external force which is applied on the body is directly proportional to the rate of change in momentum. So the equation part to prove this is force applied on the body is directly proportional to rate of change in the momentum. So F is proportional to d by dt of mv. So F is proportional to m into dv by dt. So F is proportional to m into dv by dt is equal to acceleration. So F is equal to kma, where k is the constant. If k is equal to 1, then we can say F is equal to ma. So net force acting on the body is proportional to mass. Net force acting on the body is proportional to acceleration. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. This is the equation of the force. Its SI unit is Newton. So 1 Newton is equal to, what is the SI unit of mass? 1 kg or kg. What is the SI unit of acceleration? Meter per second square. So what is the definition of Newton? If 1 kg body is under the acceleration of 1 meter per second square, when it is moved with 1 meter per second square acceleration, then the force applied on the body is equal to 1 Newton. If a 1 kg body or unit mass body is moving with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square or unit acceleration, then the force applied on the body is 1 Newton. Or this definition may be states like this also. If a unit mass body is moving with an unit acceleration, then the force applied on it is 1 unit, nothing but the 1 Newton. This is the way to define the Newton. Here one problem which relates to the Newton's second law of motion. The statement of the problem is, a bullet of mass 0.04 kg moving with the speed of 90 meters per second enters a heavy wooden block and is stopped after a distance of 60 centimeters. What is the average resistive force exerted by the block on the bullet? The physical quantities which are stated in this problem are mass m is equal to 0.04 kg. The initial speed of the body is equal to 90 meters per second. And it was entered to a heavy wooden block, stopped after a distance of 60 centimeters. Stopped means final speed is 0. Distance travelled, S is equal to 60 centimeters. So nothing but 60 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. Now we should find out what is the average resistive force offered by the block. We know that F is equal to ma, but we should find out A with the given information. So therefore, acceleration is equal to minus u square by 2s, because v square minus u square is equal to 2as, where v is 0, that's why this is the form of the shape. Where u is equal to 90 meters per second, it is 90 square, 2 into s is 60 centimeters, 60 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Therefore, acceleration is equal to 90 square 8100 by 2 into 60 120 into this 10 power minus 2 goes up plus 2. So if we calculate the whole thing, the answer we will get is minus 6750 meters per second square, because it is the decelerating body. So therefore, the force acting on the body is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass on the body is 0.04, acceleration is equal to minus 6750. Therefore, it is 4 by 100 into minus 6750. 0, 0 get cancelled. It is 2700 by 10. Therefore, resistive force is equal to 270 newtons. Minus indicates the resistive force, nothing but the force which is applied to stop the body by the wooden block. So this much force is required to stop the body in a form of resistivity. The next concept we are going to discuss is impulse. So what is the meaning of impulse? Let us suppose take a body initially which is moving with a velocity v, and while it is moving towards a point, some external force is applied, maybe in the form of resistance of the air or maybe any other force is applied on the body to change its velocity to u. The initial momentum of the body is mv. After the force applied, its momentum was changed to mu. So we know that the rate of change in momentum is force. But what is the connectivity between this impulse and this explanation? The connectivity is, if some amount of force, maybe it is a large force or small amount of force is applied on a body for short interval of time to change its linear momentum, is called impulse of the body. The amount of force applied on a body for short interval of time to change its linear momentum is called impulse. The symbol of the impulse is capital I. What are the examples? While you are seeing a fielder who is catching a cricket ball, initially he stretches the hands forward, but while he is catching the ball, his hands will be moved back. That means he is applying a small amount of force for short interval of time on the ball to change the momentum of the ball. This is the one example, catching a cricket ball. The example is catching a cricket ball. One more example, if you see, two persons, they are jumping from the top. One is on the stone marble, second one is on the sand. The one who is jumping towards the marble stone will feel more injuries. But the one who is jumping toward the sand or land of sand, he will feel less injuries and no injuries sometimes. The reason behind it is the marble stone can create a lot of change in the momentum within a short interval of time. But a sand is not effective that much when compared to the marble stone. So these are the examples we can observe in the impulse. So what is the equation part? What are its units? So force is equal to rate of change in momentum by time. If the body's velocity is changing from v to u, its change in momentum will be mv minus mu by time. So where mv is final momentum, where mu is initial momentum by time. So therefore, if you take the m as common, m into v minus u by t is equal to f. So m into v minus u is equal to f into t. This change in momentum is equal to force into time. This force into time is called impulse. Therefore, impulse is equal to force into time, or eft. After deriving the formula, what is its SI unit? SI unit of impulse. I is equal to, SI unit of force is Newton, SI unit of time is second, so it is called as Newton second. The dimensional formula of the impulse. It can be derived like this. We should keep the I in brackets. The dimensional formula of force is m L t power minus 2 into the dimensional formula of time is capital T. So this is the dimensional formula of force, this capital T is the dimensional symbol of time. So it will be m L t power minus 1. So impulse had one dimension in mass, one dimension in length, and minus one dimensions in time. It is dependent on mass, length, time of the body, which are primarily said to be fundamental physical quantities in the list. Here one problem is there, which is on the basis of concept called impulse. The description of the problem is a constant force acting on a body of mass 3 kg changes its speed from 2 meters per second to 3.5 meters per second in 25 seconds. The direction of the motion of the body remains unchanged. What is the magnitude and direction of the force? So here the list of physical quantities that are present in the problem are: the body's speed is changed from 2 meters per second to 3.5 meters per second, and the mass of the body is 3 kg. Therefore, mass m is equal to 3 kg. Speed, initial speed u is equal to 2 meters per second. Final speed v is equal to 3.5 meters per second. Time taken is 25 seconds. So we should find out the magnitude and direction of the force. Force is equal to ma, and it will be m into v minus u by t, where m is equal to 3 kg, where v is equal to 3.5 meters per second, where u is equal to 2 meters per second, time is equal to 25 seconds. Therefore, F is equal to 3 into 1.5 by 25. It is 4.5 by 25. If we cancel the calculation, we will get 0.18 newtons. We got the force as a positive constant or positive integer. That's why the direction of the force is along the direction of the body. This is one of the point we can find out. If F is positive, applied force direction and direction of the body is same. If F is negative, the direction of the applied force and the direction of the body is opposite to each other. Here one more problem we will see in the concept of impulse. The previous example was change in the direction. This example was not in the change. The description of the problem is like this. A batsman hits back a ball straight in the direction of the bowler without changing its initial speed of 12 meters per second. If the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg, determine the impulse imparted to the ball. So, the ball is coming with the initial speed of 12 meters per second from a bowler. Batsman hits back the same ball towards the bowler in the opposite direction with the same speed. Means direction was changed but speed is not changed. So you can write here also it is minus 12 meters per second towards bowler. So impulse. Impulse is force into time. So here the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg. So therefore m into, where acceleration is v minus u by t into t, this t and t get cancelled. So it is 0.15 into 12 minus of minus 0.15 into 12. So it will be 0.15 into 12 plus 0.15 into 12. Therefore 2 into 0.15 into 12. The 12 15s are 180. 180 by 100 is 1.8. So therefore it is 2 into 1.8, nothing but 3.6 Newton seconds. This much impulse is imparted towards the body. So the formula is Ft, where F is equal to ma into t, and we see in the calculations and cancellations of the time. So we have substituted the given values which are in the problem. So we got 3.6 newtons per second. But the impulse have no direction because it is a combination of forward and reverse directions at the same time. So that is the answer. The next concept is Newton's third law of motion. In the previous two laws, we have discussed about the force and the direction of the applied force and the changes on the body after applying the force. But in the third law of motion, it creates a concept called force of reaction. There are some examples to understand this concept. Suppose if you want to fix an iron nail onto a wall, we should apply some amount of the force on the nail in the uniform direction without changing the direction as well as the magnitude. But if you want to throw a ball onto the wall, simply we throw it with a force applied. This is the wall and a ball was thrown on the wall. With the same force, the ball will move back towards the observer. That means we are applying the force on the wall, and the wall is creating the same amount of the force in the opposite direction to throw the ball or to move the ball towards the observer. So the force what we applied is applied force. The force what was imparted by the wall is force of reaction. According to the Newton's third law of motion, applied force and force of reaction are same in magnitude but opposite in direction. Applied force is equal to force of reaction. To conclude this whole Example, there is a statement in the form of third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Suppose the person who is throwing the ball towards the wall has applied the force Fa, and the ball is impacting a force onto the observer is Fb. Both are having the same magnitude but opposite in direction. Therefore, we can say Fa is equal to minus Fb, where minus indicates opposite in direction. This third law of motion had many consequences and many examples. The first example is law of conservation of linear momentum. And the examples of this Newton's third law is, first one, recoiling of gun. If a soldier fires a bullet, the front part of the gun was be leaded on the shoulder. What is the reason behind it? Suppose if the bullet is coming out of the rifle, it imparts a force called applied force. With the same amount of the force, the gun will move back. So, to compensate this loss in the energy, or to make the equilibrium of these two forces, the dependence on the shoulder is very, very important for a soldier. So the recoiling of gun means the gun will move back after firing the bullet with the same speed. This is one of the example for the Newton's third law of motion. Second example, motion of a rocket. If you see the rocket launching, through the nozzle, the smoke will come out. The smoke which is colliding with the earth will give the sufficient force to move the rocket upwards. Means the amount of force which is in the downward direction is giving the required amount of force to move the rocket upwards. That's why the force of applied is in the downward, the force of reaction is in the upward. The motion of rocket also we can explain on the basis of Newton's third law of motion. Hitting a ball onto the wall and the ball will be coming towards the observer. This is also one of the example. And the another consequences of this Newton's third law of motion is elasticity. Elasticity is also one of the example of the Newton's third law of motion. Suppose if we take any spring or any elastic material like a rubber thread, once it is stretched by applying any force or weight on it, that means in one direction we are applying the force, but in the opposite direction within the body there are some forces are created to regain the original position of the body. That's why whenever we remove the external force applied on the body will regain its original state within the short interval of time. That means the applied force direction is like this, if suppose, but once the force in one direction was removed, automatically the body will align in the direction of the reaction force. This concept is called elasticity. But the reason behind this elasticity called one force, that force name is restoring force. So like this, we can understand the concept of Newton's third law of motion. What are the another examples for the Newton's third law of motion? Swimming is one example. If you see a swimmer, he is applying the force toward the forward direction with the left hand, the same force will be given towards the right hand. So if you see the diving of a swimmer, it is an alternative mode of change. Walking is also one of the example. We are applying force with one leg, the same force will be shifted to the another leg which is in the opposite direction to move back or front. So like this, there are many examples which are we are observing or we are doing in our daily life. So this is some conclusion about the Newton's third law of motion. Next, common forces in mechanics. What are the common forces we can experience in our daily life while we are dealing with the motion of the bodies? The first force is applied force, first of all. Means the force what we are applying. The second force, whether we know or we are experiencing or not experiencing, gravitational force is also one of the common force in mechanics. The third force, previously we have discussed restoring force. Suppose we are applying a force on a body which can be movable easily, that is applied force. If it is a machine to move a body which is in a larger size, that force is also called mechanical force. This is also one of the common forces that we are going to discuss in this mechanics. The last force, which always keeps the object to be stationary, which always opposes the motion of the bodies on the surfaces or the relative motion of the bodies on the surfaces, that is frictional force. These are the 5 common forces that we are discussing or dealing in mechanics. Suppose if you want to deal a problem, a numerical was given, so we should draw a free body diagram, FBD, to understand the direction of the forces or resolution of the force concepts. Then we can assume the picture and we should apply the laws. Like this, these 5 forces are important to solve any problem in the mechanics. Next one, the lift problems. The concept of the lift is like this. Apparent weight in the lift. So nowadays we are using lifts, escalators, elevators, all those are called to be lifts. Suppose if a person who is standing in the lift, he wants to go up or come down. In these 2 cases, going up or coming down with the lift, in these 2 cases, there will be a change in the weight of an observer who is inside the lift. This change is not real. It is appear to be changed. That's why it is said to be apparent weight. Apparent means appear to be or seems to be changed. Means or seems to be changed by experience. So what is the apparent weight in the lift? There are many cases. We will discuss the main cases in this apparent change in the weight of the lift. Suppose if an observer who is inside the lift, this is the lift, let us suppose an observer is there. If the lift is stationary, means there is no force acting on the lift. So what will be the apparent change in the weight of the person who is standing or sitting inside the lift? So as the force is 0, where mass is there but acceleration is 0, because it is not at all accelerating. That's why there will be no change in the weight of the body. That's why we can say change in weight W dash is equal to mg. So if the lift is in stationary mode, the change in weight is equal to the actual weight of the body. That means most probably there will be no change. If suppose the lift is going up, this is the lift, observer is there, and we are drawing the direction of arrow mark, means the lift is going up. Whenever the lift is going up, the body or the lift has to do the work against the force of gravity by the linear force that is applied by the human being or the person who is inside the lift. That's why change in weight will be original weight plus force. Therefore, it is mg plus ma, where m we are taking as common, it is g plus a. So, the apparent change in the weight of the body is m into g plus a when the lift is going up. The third case is where the lift is accelerating downwards. Let us suppose this is the lift, a person standing inside it. So he is coming down, means the lift is accelerating downwards, almost like a freely falling body. In this case, there are two cases. If the body is accelerating with the gravity, therefore A is equal to plus G. If the body is not accelerating with this much acceleration, we can say A less than G or A greater than G. Let us suppose if the body is coming down with any one of these cases, suppose if A greater than G, then we can say that the body is in the direction of the gravity. That means there is no need of overcoming the gravity. It is already aligned in the direction of the gravity, nothing but the acceleration due to gravity. So therefore, change in weight W dash is equal to m into G minus ma, because the original weight minus net force acting on the person who is inside the lift. Therefore, it will be m into G minus a. If it is freely falling, the another case is if a is equal to G. For freely falling bodies, acceleration of the body is equal to capital G. Therefore, if it is freely falling, A is equal to G, therefore change in weight W dash is equal to m into G minus A, therefore m into G minus G, automatically it will be 0. If the body is freely falling and its acceleration is equal to the acceleration due to gravity, therefore the change in gravity is 0, or the change in weight is 0. It is almost similar to the previous case where the body is moving up with a constant acceleration due to gravity. So in these two cases, weight change is 0. The remaining cases, it is m into G plus A or m into G minus A. The next concept is law of conservation of linear momentum. As we know about the linear momentum is nothing but mass into velocity of the body. So it is represented by P. But what is the statement for the law of conservation of momentum? Conservation means constant or standard, maintaining the same value or same magnitude in any case. Means no loss or no gain within the different chances. So what is the definition and the conviction about this linear momentum? It will be like this. Let us take a body of mass m1 while it is moving with velocity u1. On the opposite direction, take another body of mass m2 which is moving with velocity u2. These two bodies are on the same plane but facing each other in the opposite direction. So the momentum of this body will be m1 u1. the momentum of the second body will be m2 u2. Once they collided with each other, because they are facing each other with velocities u1 and u2 and masses m1, m2, the collision take place like this. m1, m2 on the same plane. Once the collision took place, they both will separate it, because it's a force of applied and force of reaction should be in the same. So that's why initially they are colliding with the force F1, F2, and after the collision they are separating with the forces F2 and F1 in the opposite direction. This is collision. After the collision, the two bodies are separated by velocities v1 and velocity v2 in the opposite direction of the same plane. So what we can conclude is, here it is m1 u1, the velocity of the body m1 was shifted to v1 after the collision. The velocity of the body mass 2 from u2 it is shifted to v2. Means there is no change in the mass, but there is a apparent change in the velocity. So what is the Newton's third law? Newton's third law of motion is equal to F12 is equal to minus F21. Means the force applied on the first body due to the second is equal to force applied on the second body due to first, but same in magnitude but opposite in direction. So now we will apply what is force, rate of change in momentum. So we will apply this m1 and m2, v1, v2, u1, u2 in the same equation.